Well, we finally made it. The matchup that we've all been waiting for ever since I posted that video of these two. So today, in the 70th episode of Multiverse Wars, we are going to be talking about a matchup that involves two characters that are often put up against each other, or at least, friends anyway. Lightning McQueen versus Thomas the Tank Engine. So, without further ado, let's not waste any more time, and let's get into their physical stats, abilities, feats, powers, speed, all that jazz. Let's go.
I'm hypnotized by red shoes.
First, let's start off with McQueen. In terms of AP and durability, Lightning should be around wall level at the lowest, considering how much kinetic energy cars can exert with their force or impacts they produce. However, in his high end, he can reach around large town level thanks to his cruise missiles and other weaponry, and even took on the Omnidroids from the Incredibles, with the Mark IV Omnidroid being capable of killing other superheroes in the Incredibles verse, like Hypershock, who is capable of generating magnitude size 6 earthquakes with his punches, meaning that this superhero should be in the town ranges of power, and Lightning should scale to all of that or even higher than him because he fought stronger Omnidroids in the Disney Infinity game. And I almost forgot to say that we're using composite versions of both characters, so yeah. He's also somewhat resistant to fire as he's able to drive through it in the games. And in the Cars Toon short Rescue Squad Mater, Lightning is seen in a burning building that is on fire, and the only things that happen to him while he's in it after Mater rescues him is that he just has black burns on the bottom of his lower half of his body. He can also survive Roger burning his back flames right in his face in Moon Mater. And Roger is a spaceship, so that's pretty impressive that he could tank that. And the only thing that happened again is that he had a big burn mark on his face. And lastly, in Cars 2, the video game, and Cars 3 Driven to Win, Lightning can side bash other characters and scales to Mater once again, who can flip a giant wrestling stadium over the Frankenstein monster truck. And also scales to Finn McMissile, who can throw lemon cars around small streets. So Lightning is pretty strong in terms of strength, AP, and durability. Now as for speed, he does have a top speed of 198 miles per hour as of Cars 3, putting him in the subsonic ranges of travel speed. However, this could easily be higher when you factor in the zone ability in the Cars 2 and Cars 3 games, where if you press the X button 2 times, you will go in a super speed boost mode where you have an electrical barrier, I guess you could say, the red one, where if anyone else hits it, they will be sent flying upon impact. It'll also make him go faster for a short period of time. Plus, there's the rocket boosters, which also increase his speed, but those are in the Cars 3 game. And also, once again, in Moon Mater, he has astronaut gear that allows him to fly in space, with Mater stating that they were traveling around 17,000 miles per hour. Now, as for combat and reaction speed, he can easily dodge gunfire and missiles, as well as attacks from the Turbo Siphon, which are electrical-based like weapons, that could steal another car's energy in the Cars 2 and 3 games. So that's some pretty expressive speed feats. Next is intelligence, and McQueen is not a genius, but he is very skilled at racing and adapting to the environment he's in, as well as knowing the value of teamwork and stuff and training with other car characters such as Cruz Ramirez in his ways of racing. He can also race in race simulations as shown in the Cars 2 video game and is highly gifted as well. Now for his hacks and other abilities, there are tons of things to go over. First, we have his Lightning Storm mode, which allows him to fly and shoot missiles. And then we have the Hawk mode, which allows him to also just fly. Then there's the Dragon mode, which can generate fire and from his exhaust and really from him in general, and also makes him more skilled in terms of combat. The frightening McMeme turns him into a monster truck, therefore give you more strength and power. The astronaut, like I said before, allows him to fly and travel through space at high speeds. And there's also the Rocket League game where Lightning McQueen actually does appear in it, and he's a playable character, meaning that he also should have access to the power-ups from that game, from the Rumble mode, I think it's called, such as the Boot, Haymaker, Tornado, Grappling Hook, Power Hitter, Disruptor, Plunger, Spikes, the Freezer, and Swapper. And other weapons from his own series include the machine guns, missiles, skate jack, impact mine, oil slick, satellite quake, satellite blitz, the leech, nullifier, magnetic mine, more bombs, turbo siphon, tracking rockets, high voltage, booster jets, first strike rocket strips, and spike strips. But despite everything that's going for him, he still has his fair share of weaknesses. For one, he's not the most skilled combatant ever. Plus, there's the fact that he is getting older as time goes on, as shown in the third Cars movie, where he did crash and suffer some pretty severe damage. But overall, McQueen is still number 1 and number 95 at the same time. Speaking of which, in terms of AP and durability, Thomas should scale from round wall to small building level, due to the amount of energy he can create thanks to the numerous crashes he has had throughout the show throughout the years. And in the Island of Sodor guidebook, Thomas's model is said to be based off an E2 tank engine, built from between 1913 to 1916, as said by Rev W. Audrey, Thomas's creator. So meaning that Thomas should be around over 100 years old, meaning that he should easily have the edge in experience over Lightning. Thomas also weighs around 53,600 kilograms and can push and pull over 100 to 200 tons. He has also been shown to be resistant to freezing or the cold, as Thomas has never been shown to be bothered or at least physically harmed by the cold, only annoyed by it, not physically harming him like I said before. But his AP and durability can be scaled even higher, considering that in the DC Super Friends crossover, which is a crossover between the Thompson Friends and DC Universe, he gains the same powers as Superman and therefore a Kryptonian, making him more powerful than before. And while not as powerful as Superman, this would still make him extremely strong and a difficult opponent to face thanks to these new abilities he has gained. Now as for speed, he can outspeed Spencer, who is a Mailer 75 engine, which has a top speed of over 126 miles per hour, but thanks to his Kryptonian abilities, Thomas's speed should easily be increased to a much higher extent. And in All Engines Go, he's been shown to be driving off the rails actually, and can go on any form of terrain, not just rails like before, back when the show didn't exist. And now as for intelligence, Thomas is pretty average in terms of intelligence, as shown to be in certain problem-solving stuff in his episodes or on his branch line at his job, as well as just calling his friends for help when he absolutely needs it, when he gets to a crash or some shit. And now for hacks and abilities, this is when shit goes fucking insane. Thomas has been shown the ability to break the fourth wall, turn into an aeroplane, granting him the power to fly, the speed boost as from Go-Go Thomas, the mobile game. Remember, use a composite here. But his most powerful ability is his magical birthday wishes, where he has the ability to anything simply by wishing them, or at least on his birthday, that is. Like making him fly once again, can create clones of himself, turn himself to different animals, so it's like an elephant, a snail, and become giant, has super speed, can become a submarine, can turn into a helicopter, or is just a propeller on top of his funnel, and can make him more elasticity and stretchy, and can even make him invisible. So yeah, Thomas's hacks and abilities are actually way more impressive and crazier than I first thought. I mean, I just thought I was a regular fucking tank engine, but now he has all this crazy shit. Yeah. But as for his weaknesses, well, it is still standard, like, I guess, tank engine weaknesses for a train anyway, or at least not a train, again, the fucking tank engine, because if he takes enough damage, he can eventually go down, and at least water stuff can leak around him to the point where we'll have to, like, call for his friends and everything and help him patch out his leaks. I'd assume this also happens in All Engines Go, too, so yeah, this weakness is still pretty prevalent. But overall, Thomas remains as the number one most useful engine for another very good reason. And now here's something you wouldn't actually expect. An actual fight. Much like how you would see in a death battle episode, but this time, it's my way. So here we go. And that was the battle. And now I'm going to be discussing why Lightning McQueen would be the winner of this fight. For one, in terms of their AP, Lightning and Thomas are surprisingly both similar, at least in their base form anyways, where they don't have any other crazy shit. They should both scale around wall level due to being able to burst through walls and other stuff, thanks to the energy they can exert thanks to their speed. However, this is where McQueen takes the advantage in almost every other category. First, speed. Even during the events of Cars 3 when he was older and out of his prime, his top speed was still at around 198 miles per hour. And although Thomas could outspeed Spencer, that would still make his top speed 126 miles per hour. And also, Lightning had much more ways to increase his speed, such as getting into the zone or with his flight modes. He's also far more skilled than Thomas in terms of combat and racing. And while Thomas has raced against Brady the Bus and other characters in his verse, McQueen can still race on all types of different terrain and has trained against other legends like Doc Hudson, Smokey, and trained crews. And Thomas can drive on alternative terrain as well since he can drive off the rails, but McQueen can fight the lemons in simulators and can use his weapons more effectively. And speaking of which, Lightning had way more stuff in his arsenal, like missiles, machine guns, and even more weapons. But as for abilities and hacks, a lot of them both have pretty insane powers. Like McQueen has the power-ups from Rocket League, and Thomas has the wishing abilities. But Thomas can't exactly keep up with McQueen forever. Now, this could be the same thing for McQueen as well, but the thing is, he can actually respawn. In the Cars 2 and 3 video games, even when he takes damage and crashes out, he eventually respawns, so he can eventually find out a new strategy to take out Thomas, like preventing him from making a wish before he actually, does it, says the thing he has to do, like, wishing McQueen away from existence. Now, Thomas does have his Superman powers and the wishing powers again, but Lightning is just simply too fast for Thomas. And while Thomas does have his super speed, well, McQueen also has the same things too that help him increase his speed, like the Space One astronaut form, or his Lightning McQueen Hawk mode. So Thomas, once again, probably wouldn't be able to make his wish in time. Also, the nullifier would just get rid of any gear Thomas might have. So, in the end, it looks like the 7-time Piston Cup champion proved that the blue tank engine was not so useful after all. The winner is Lightning McQueen.